Hello everybody, Satesman here, small van driver on the CX, and it's actually Monday 16th, Monday 25, on a Monday evening. This is last week's Week in the Life. As you can tell by the title of the video, I had a massive problem Wednesday with Scylla. Uh, I'll come to that. Scylla the Citroen went bang. Uh, let's start with Monday. Let's go back to Monday when things were all okay. Monday, I'd already got a job booked in to Ashford from Northampton, and it wasn't Ashford, Kent, it was Ashford just south of Heathrow. It was a residential pickup in Northampton and a residential drop off in Ashford, taking a little computer screen and a box of stuff. Easy. Easy job. And yeah, done that and got that down at Ashford. And I managed to get a load back. It took me about three quarters of an hour to an hour. I'd say back a load to Chippy Norton from Woking. And again, it was a very small package to pick up from an engineering company in Woking, not far from a famous racing team in Woking. And that was going to Chippy Norton. And that was the racing team. We all pretty know Chippy Norton. If you're a courier, there's only really one place. It's not even in Chippy Norton. It's about, I don't know, 5 miles from it. But when I book on that job, if I book it into Chippy Norton, I put a really good money on it because you're not going to get anything out of there. I've never seen a job come out of Chippy Norton as such. But if you can get to Brackley, to Bicester, somewhere around there, Banbury, you travel a little bit, there's a good chance you get some up. But I've done that job and I got to Chippy Norton and nothing was coming out. I drove to the services on the way to Brackley, parked up there for a bit. Nothing coming out. So I decided, you know what? Chippy Norton, where it is to my house is 40 miles. I thought, I'll just drive home. Having an easier day. And I just did a 7 hour day on that one and got good money, really. Good money. And I had booked a job for Tuesday from Northampton to Coventry. I'm going to stay local, like I said. So stay local. And I picked a job up and it was 33 miles. Got well over £1 a mile, well over. And that was a pallet, a small pallet, going to Coventry, which the next morning, Tuesday, picked it up Tuesday morning, 8:15, and I was done by 9:15 and delivered. And managed to get another job from Sutton Coldfield to Leicester. 2 drops in Leicester, 2 drops. And they're quite close together, actually. There's about a 3 mile difference. And it was 2 small items, one for each. And it was pretty easy. And I got really good money for that as well. So pounds per mile, I was well up. And I thought, bound to get some out of Leicester. I was looking to go back maybe to Coventry or to Birmingham, Hinckley, even Nottingham and Derby at a push, and then try and get another job. But Leicester was dead. This is lunchtime, and it was dead. And then a couple of jobs popped up from a shipper I knew. And they were only short jobs. They were like 25-mile jobs. And I thought, and one was going my way. It wasn't getting me to Northampton, but it wasn't getting me far away. And I thought, you know what, if I could get that. So I quote my minimum. I'll tell you, my minimum's 30 quid. And that's my minimum. And it used to be 35 before Christmas because there was a lot of work about. But I dropped it to 30. And I quoted on these jobs. I never got them. Well, the second one, it hadn't gone. The first one had, and I hadn't got that, and I was staggered. And the second one, I phoned up. And spoke to a lady who works for me, I know, and she says, "Oh, we've just given that job out. I'm really sorry, Dave." She says, "I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I've had quotes of 20 quid." And I went, "What?" "Yeah, for 25-mile. No, it's 27 miles loaded. You've got to get there. 20 quid." And I quoted 30. I'll tell you what, I quoted 30. Never got it. And she said, "I've had about 4 or 5 very low quotes." She said, "These drivers haven't worked, I don't think, today." She said, "I think they've been, in Leicester." She said, don't think they've worked. So, pretty deflated, really. But then a job popped up to pick up that afternoon, up to 3:30, which from Northampton, which I could get back to Northampton for that. And it was documents to be delivered Wednesday, the next day, to 15 miles north of Newark, and then get them signed and returned to Northampton. So it was good. I've quoted on it, good money, and got it. Went to the company where I was meant to pick up the documents from at 3:30. I was there at 3:10. I thought, I'll collect these. I'm going home. I went in and she said, I said who I was from, what courier, company, shipper. And she said, oh, they've gone. I went, okay. I said, are you sure? She said, yeah. She says, there was two, she says, the driver come in from the same courier company because there was two jobs, one to Exeter, one to Newark, and yeah, he's gone. So I'm like, okay. I said, fine, I'll phone it. She said, I'll phone through to the lady who's brought them down. She says, make sure they're both gone. And she did, and they had. I said, no, no worries. So I phoned the shipper. I knew exactly what happened. This lady, he said he was from this company. She gave them both envelopes. And he took them and didn't look at the addresses on them. One was, that's the only thing it could be. So I phoned the shipper up, told him, he says, can you sit tight and I'll get back to you. I'll have to phone this driver, see if he has got both. And he had. And he'd left at 20 to 3, and by now it was 20 past 3. And he was on his way to Wales with them. He'd been 40 minutes down the road. They stopped him and told him he got to wait. We've got to sort something out. So they phoned me up to tell me what happened. I said, well, I can go and meet him halfway if he wants to drive back halfway, and then he's only got come back 20 miles, and I'll meet him. And I met him at Brackley Services and took the envelope off him. Yeah, he took both. He hadn't read it, and on the envelope it clearly states where it was going, that it got to be signed and returned. And bless him, he hadn't looked. The other one was on top, and he just chucked him in the van. So they paid me some good money for that, to do that, and I appreciate that as well. They're a local company to me, and I've done a fair bit of work for them. And I managed to get the envelope back, and I said, that's no problem, we'll get it delivered tomorrow, which was Wednesday. Woeful Wednesday. My day went from perfect, having a lovely ride, went up the A1 up to where I've got to go, 12, 17 miles north of Newark. Stopped at the man's house in a village, couldn't even tell the name of the village. He signed, it took him about 5 minutes. He brought the envelope out and another envelope taped to it. I was on my way back, and I thought, well, I'll take the quickest route back, and it was down the A46 towards Leicester. And I was going down the A46, it was really windy, and I was on the dual carriageway, and my van lost power. It didn't lose a lot of power, but I had to drop a gear to try and go past it. I thought, there's something not right with this van. It's just not giving me that feel of it's got plenty of horsepower. And I thought, I'm going to pull over as soon as I can, because I was on dual carriageway, and I got about 100 yards from a lay-by, and massive white smoke out the exhaust, out the engine. I just about got it into the lay-by. I turned the engine off. It still revved. The only way to stop the engine revving, I put it in fourth gear and let the clutch out, stalled it, and it stopped. And that's terminal. It was pretty terminal. Oh boy, great. So I phoned the shipper first. I got out. I couldn't see it. I knew it had done some damage. It had done some damage. I didn't even, but nothing come up on my screen, on my computer screen. No faults. No faults. The white smoke, the white everything. What a mess. So I didn't start it again. I thought, let's just phone the shipper. This is not going anywhere, this van. Phone the shipper. Really, really nice. They were really good about it. They'd got a driver, their own driver, who was about 25, 30 mile away. Said, we're sending him to you. He'll come. He's got your phone number. You've got his. Tell him exactly where you are. I can see you on the A46 side because you've got your tracker on. I've sort of guided him in. He'll give you a ring. So that was that sorted. The item was going to get delivered. And then I'm thinking, right, I need to sort out. So I'm in the AA. I've got a breakdown recovery thing. Phone them up, and it takes ages. You get through here, there. They ask you so many questions about safety, which is fair enough. I was not in a particularly safe spot because I was at the front of this lay-by, and the lorries were going by. And yeah, it wasn't brilliant, but I weren't getting out because it was bitterly cold and raining. It was throwing it down. So I was safe-ish, I suppose. Phoned the company, AA, and they says, we're going to try and get someone to you. You'll get a text. And if you can download the app, you can follow it on the app. I'm not very good with technology. I managed to get on the app eventually. It took me a long while. But by then, I got a text saying that they'd subbed it out to a local recovery. I told them it was the turbo because by then I'd spoke to my mechanic, Darren, and he says, that's the turbo gone, mate. He says, it just sounds like the turbo. He says, and what damage that done? That white smoke is the oil going back in the engine. It's going where it shouldn't and burn. I don't know. I was a blur by then. And sure enough, they said, I told her it was a recovery. It needed recovering to Northampton. Not. They subbed it out, and a bloke turned up in a van, no towing equipment whatsoever, apart from a long bar. And you're not allowed to tow with a long bar, only to a safe location, which I was probably in for him. And he just went, yeah, I think your turbo's gone, mate. He says, you'll have to get back in touch with the AA. It needs recovering. He says, I'll send it through on here. He's more interested in taking pictures of the van and filling a form in. And he says, can you sign here? He says, give it 10 minutes while it goes through, then phone the AA. I've said that you need a recovery, and they'll have to send a recovery thing out. Brilliant. Absolutely fucking brilliant. So I had a sense of humour failure, really, because I said, you're about as much use as a chocolate fucking teapot, mate. I said, I need recovering. I says, and why did they say, why did you take the job on? He said, we have to come out and have a look first before we decide. Well, brilliant. So he went off. I lost my patience by then. Anyway, it wasn't long. I got back to the AA, and he hadn't even put it through. This was 20 minutes later when I got through, and he hadn't put it through. They said, oh, hold on the phone. Really nice bloke at the AA now. He says, if you hold on the phone, I'll phone them and ask them to, what's going on. He come back after 5 minutes. He said, they're not answering their phone. He says, not one, they haven't answered it yet. But I'm going to take your word for it that it needs recovering, and I'll get it sorted as quick as I can. And I'm type 2 diabetic, so I'd got stuff with me. But he says, you're in an unsafe position as far as I can see. We'll try and get it as quick as we can. He says, but we have got quite a wait. And to be fair to him, it took another hour and 10 minutes, and an AA van turned up, a custom, with a dolly in the back, one that comes down, opens up, and he towed me. And he said, where are we going? I told him we're going. I'd already phoned Darren. He says, drop it over the road from my garage. He says, but I'm so busy. He said, it's going to be Friday, maybe Monday before I get a chance to look at it. I said, well, at least you got it. And that's what we did. Poor old Scylla went on the back of a tow truck, and I sat with her, and yeah, knackered. We ain't sure, still ain't sure. Darren hasn't had a chance. He's going to phone me tonight. When he gets home, he hasn't been in touch, but he says, just leave it with me. So that was my week finished. Total. 2.5 days. And it was going quite well as well. Well, it was going well enough for me. I thought I was going to get a decent time. And altogether, I did... How many hours did I do? 18 hours in total in 3 days. And I drove 520 miles, and 13 hours of that was driving, and I got 474 quid, averaging out about 80. I don't know. I'd give up. I wrote it in for 80p. Yeah, so that was my week. That was my week on the road with Scylla, the very poorly Citroen. As a lot of you know through previous videos, I've been umming and ahhing whether to get another van anyway, because Scylla had done 169,000. She was still running really well, but it's a lot of miles. And was the van worth more to me? Because second-hand value is not going to be brilliant, although it's mint. It was mint, and it still is mint, apart from what's happened. Everything, tyres, everything else is good. It's really clean. It hasn't got a mark on it, and never had a bump. But yeah, we're going to see what happens. But it sort of pushed the issue, really. I got home Wednesday night. Well, home too late. My wife picked me up from my mate's garage outside. He'd already gone home, bless him. We was home by 7-ish. And I said, right, I'm going to have a look. So I was on Auto Trader. I've been looking for a fair while anyway, keeping my options open. And I decided I was going to stay small van. I didn't see the point of going up to a short wheelbase van, because yes, you can get short wheelbase work. It is there, but it's a very small percentage of work on the CX. The small van is still the most. I'm not going up to a large wheelbase van. I'm 60 this year. I suffer from bad back. I don't want to be lumping 60 or 70 boxes on or heavy. I'm quite happy doing little jobs, distance, enjoying myself, having a bit of fun. And I'd sort of got the van down to two vans. I was looking at a Fiat Doblo, I was going to have an L2. My Citroen's an L1. That was one thing I was going to do. Have an L2, not to put extra work or pallets, so there's more room to sleep in it, because I tramp in the summer, spring, summer, autumn. I'll tramp, and it gives me a little bit of extra room, and it means I can just have a bit more extra room. Simple as. So the Fiat Doblo appealed to me. A good friend of mine who's got his own channel, Tallman Small Van, John. If you want to subscribe to his channel, he's got a Fiat Doblo 19 plate, and yeah, I'd sort of made mine. It was going to be a small one. I was looking at a new Citroen Berlingo, newer shape one, L2, but they're massive money. They're big money, little small vans. Car Vauxhall Combos, Peugeot Partners. They are big money. The Fiat Doblo comes in slightly less because it's got less gadgets. It's the only way to put it. It hasn't got AdBlue, which to me is a plus. It's a work van. It's not got all your technology. It's not got DAB radio. I don't really care. It's got FM. It's got AM. It's got Talk Sport. That's all I need. And I've got DAB on my phone. I can play through anything on my phone for nothing if I want. But they're workhorses. And I'd looked at Fiat Doblos, and there was one in Scotland. I chatted to another good friend, Neil, at Neptune's. I said, there's one in Scotland I may be interested in, but getting to Scotland to go and fetch it was going to be a pain. Trains, I'd have to get a train up. So we're looking. I'd even looked at getting a bigger van, a Citroen Dispatch. Is that the right word? Yeah, Citroen Dispatch. Or the other one I'd looked at was there's three or four Vauxhall VR, the PSA group again. But I couldn't justify. And they're really expensive. So on the Wednesday night, I'd been looking around, and I didn't sleep a lot. I was thinking what I was going to do, how much money I want to spend, and there was Fiat Doblo in Scotland, like I said, which was low mileage, only 15,000 miles, and there was a really nice Fiat Doblo in Worcestershire, which is not too far from me, and that had done 40,000 miles, and it was 1,500 quid cheaper. It was 1,700 quid cheaper. Yeah. And it was a 19 plate, and it was the cabin, the engine, mint, full service history, but it had been run by a mechanic, leasing company, and the back was, you can imagine, crap. It was a mess. I see that as a bargaining tool to get even more money off it. I looked at how much a plywood kit is to put in the back of a Doblo. It was an L2. And they're 165 to buy plus VAT, so they're 200 quid, and I would have fitted it myself. But when I phoned up about it on the Thursday afternoon. Obviously, I was off because I hadn't got a van, and I've been and collected all my stuff out of my van because I'd left all my stuff in it. So I stripped the van down because I didn't want it nicked out the van. Put it in the car we got, and I phoned up about it. Really nice gentleman. Dealership. The dealership's got 5-star awards, absolutely spot on. It's got like 750, 800 spot on reviews. They look after people. And I phoned him about the Doblo. And he was they do commercial and cars. And he was really nice. I said, the only thing I'm interested, but the back, he said, I know what you're going to say. The plywood he said, it was a mechanic's car. He says, it was just dirty black or spots of oil and all that. He says, we've put a new plywood kit in it. So I'm thinking, well, that's pleasing on the eye. So we had a chat about it, and I said, look, can I put a reserve it? He says, no worries. He said, you can put a reserve on it. He says, I'm not actually there today. I'm in the other branch. He says, because we were short here. I'm the commercial sales rep. He says, but I'm over here. And he says, but I'm back in tomorrow. I said, well, I'm obviously not working. I've got a van. So I says, can I come over and see it? I said, can I put a reserve on it at £99, which is what they want? And he says, if you don't like it, we'll give you money straight back, £99. If you don't think it's for you, no problem. He said, all means come and have a look. Which I did. I went over on a Friday and had a look, and the cabin is immaculate. You can eat your dinner off anything. It's really good. The engine bay, 1.6. It's the engine I wanted, the 1.6 with a 105 brake horsepower. which is not the top, the 120 brake horsepower, but it's not the little engine, the 1.3, which is only 75 brake, which you put a ton of weight in the back, you're struggling to get out of bloody town, let alone up an hill. So it was the one I wanted. It was the horsepower, it was everything. So I researched it quite a lot. I chatted with John, like I say, tall man, small man. He's got one. He's got a 19 plate, and the front and the cabin were fantastic. Opened the back door, and I've got to say I was disappointed in the back because the D-rings that secure the loads with your bungees or your ratchet straps, they were rusty. They were broke, 2 of them, and I went, "Oh, that's not good." He says, tell you what, he said, write down everything that you think's wrong with it, and we can perhaps do something about it. So I always carry a notepad with me. So I ended up with 6 items that I wasn't happy with. 6 things, should I say. They don't carry a spare wheel, Fiat Doblos. They give you a punch repair kit, which I presume is absolutely fucking useless, but it hadn't got one in it. They were going to put a 12-month ticket on it, even though it wasn't due till the end of May, but they said they'd put a ticket on it. These tie-down D-rings were, 2 of them were knackered and the rest were rusty, so that was another thing. There was a back door catch. Believe it or not, the internal one. So if you're in the van in the back, there was no internal catch. You could open it and shut it from the outside, but if you're inside, you couldn't get out. And the reason you couldn't get out is because the 2 side doors haven't got any inside catches. They're just outside, open and shut. But the back does open, but it didn't because you couldn't get the catch. So he had to open the door and let me out. And I said, there's a catch. You can see the catch was missing. He says, no, we'll get that dirt. He says, so another one. And the service history had 2 service stamps that, as in the advert, when I went in the service record book, there was none. It was empty. It was a good read. And I've had this before. I've had it with a motorbike, believe it or not. I bought a motorbike off the AA, and they do not put the stamps in the book. They fill a service record sheet in and give the service record, and they don't do the book. And it was from an automotive leasing company, so when it went back to the leasing to be serviced, they fill a service sheet in of what they've done, and that's what you get. But they hadn't sent it over to this dealership who was selling the van, so he said, I'll sort that. So we ended up, there wasn't a spare key, which again he was going to sort. There were 7 things that needed doing. And I says, if them 7 things are done, and they've all got to be done, then I'll buy the van. I said, I'm quite happy with everything else. I said, I'll buy it. I said, it's a bit tatty in the back, but I can sort that out. It's a van. The front was immaculate. I went on a test drive, very impressed. Everything worked. Aircon, cruise. So we did the deal. He sent me an email, an order form. I filled it in, but I didn't sign it. And I sent them an email. So I've got it in writing because I emailed saying if all these jobs, these snags are all done to my satisfaction, they're delivering the van Thursday, this Thursday coming. And I said, if that's all done, I've got no problem. If you can send me an email back confirming every one of my snagging jobs will be done, I'm quite happy to send the money over. I says, but if they're not done, I will ask for the money back. And they agreed totally. And he's a really nice bloke. His name's Rob. And he seemed very fair. And looking through all their history of feedback, they're very fair. They do the jobs. So it should be mint. It should be mintish. It's got a bulkhead in. Full bulkhead. Which a lot of people think, oh, that's good. It's in 2 panels. So you can take half a panel or a full panel. There's a good chance I'm going to take it out. Because I hadn't got one in cellar. I just got a big flag across. Because for tramping, I want the heat to go in the back before I get in my bed. And in the morning, I'll turn the engine on with a bit of heat on. If it's a bit cold, it'll warm it up. So there's a good chance I will take the bulkhead off because I'm not going to do ADR. And I've got loads of straps. Nothing moves in my van. So that I will do that probably. I'll leave that in there and I'll have a look. I may leave it in for a bit because I'm not tramping yet. So Thursday I should, fingers crossed, have another van. I'm going to repair Scylla, the Citroen, as long as Darren don't come back and say it's completely fucked everything, which he may well do because he thinks it may damage the injectors and also the diesel particle filter. It may have shot back there. It may have upset that in it. So it could be a spares or repairs, or it could be repaired, put a 12-month ticket on it and see what I get. So that's pretty much it. yeah, bit of a pisser, really. Bit of a pisser. But that's what happens. You know, you got to take that. You got to just wipe yourself down and say, sorry, got to crack on. Got to do some, you know, get back on your feet. The van was brilliant. That Citroen Berlingo was brilliant. The only aggro I had, and it was with the AdBlue. And a lot of people have problems with the AdBlue. And AdBlue is getting more and more expensive. That's another good thing. The Fiat Doblo, it's Euro 6, so it's full emissions free. No AdBlue. It's just fuel. And yeah, suits me fine. Absolutely fine. I was pleased with the interior. It's quite a tall interior. I've got the seats set right, lovely armrests. Yeah, so it's going to be a good van, I think, to drive. So we're hoping that everything goes all right Thursday. What he said to me in this rub, if they can't, it's Fiat who's going to let them down because they won't put cheap aftermarket extras like stuff in. Oh, the Fiat badge had come off and it had worn out, so he's ordered another one. And the tie down D rings that they're going to put Fiat ones in. They won't put aftermarket. It's all got to be Fiat, Fiat, Fiat. So he said, if I don't get them, Dave, he says on our insurance, he said I can send you another van down, different, I'll send you another van. You can drive it until we've got everything right on yours, and then we'll swap them over. So I don't want to send a van down that ain't right, and you say, well, I don't want it, and it comes back, and I have to give you your money back. So that's not no good for me. It's no good for you. So even if I don't get mine, and it is, I know what dealerships are like. They are a pain. They haven't got nothing in stock. Fiat haven't. They have to order it, but he's convinced he'll get it done, and I'll have it Thursday ready to work. If it does come Thursday, I'm not going to work Thursday because Friday I'm going to be sorting it out. I want to do a few bits in the back myself. I'm going to paint this white. I am the white van man now. I've gone from silver to white. I'm going to paint the white inside, the metal, because it's scratched and I hate it scratched. I want it right. And I'm going to paint the floor in it because it's a beautiful new plywood floor and I don't like it. I like it, but I don't like the colour. So that's going to be painted black. And I ain't going to put, I might felt the sides because the sides on my Berlingo were felt all on the plywood. I may do it. I may just leave it so it leaves it a bit brighter. We'll see. But that's pretty much it. So, bad start to 2023. Although this week, it's only Monday. I booked in. This morning, today, I've got I had a cyst. You won't see it. It was on the back of my head. It was a cyst. It was getting bigger. And I've booked in and that's been removed this morning. I had to have it done privately because the National Health won't do it because they haven't got any money, because it's not life-threatening, it's not cancerous. In their eyes, it's not cancerous. But it was just like a golf ball size. And I had it done privately this morning in Hitchin, believe it or not. And that took 45 minutes, local anaesthetic. And I've got 8 stitches in the back of my head. And I've got 12 internal stitches, which was done in 35 minutes, 40 minutes under local anaesthetic. So that was 2023 has been a real pisser to start with. I won't put a photo, I wouldn't know how to, but I've got a photo of what the cyst was took out. It was the size of about a golf ball. It come out clean, the sac as well. No, yeah, just a cyst, no issues, just a bit of wonga. So it's been a very expensive week. Hopefully, I'll be back on the road next week. I bloody hope so, because I can't be doing with this. I have got a few little jobs of my own. I've got to chase a couple of invoices, not too many. But apart from that, that's it. So look forward to Thursday, hope they deliver my van. And then Friday, I've got a dentist Friday, 9:25. That's another reason I can't really do anything. Fucking, what a week. Hey, such is life. Hope you're all doing well. You're doing better than me. Hope your vans are running all right. Not a lot else to say. Keep subscribing. I will be able to look at more. I will be able to answer your questions more. I say I'm going to hopefully get the Citroen Berlingo fixed. And if it costs me £2,000, £3,000, I think I can sell it for 5.5, something like that. Maybe 4.5, 5. But I'll get more money. And I'd rather fix her because for 2.5 years, she's just been a right beautiful van. I've wringed the neck out of that van. I mean, but a turbo, there was no pre-warning. It just blew, bang. Yeah, so that's happened. Anyway, it's like I say, I hope you're doing well. Rambled on for 30 minutes, and next time I speak to you, hopefully we'll be in a Fiat Doblo. What I'll try and do is perhaps take do a YouTube video and show you the van. Or if it hasn't arrived and I ain't working, I probably won't put a video up. So anyway, hope you're all doing well. Speak soon.